What is up, conscious monkeys? Welcome to the return, drum roll please, ba-da-da-da-da-da, the return of Catch Up with Clayton. And as always, I'm your host, Clayton Kiteri, and just had to slip in that last name, credibility and, get the name out there. But this is the return. And honestly, I miss doing this stuff. I miss lighting. It lit me up. It gave me energy throughout my day. And I really noticed that in this process of not doing it, thinking I was going to take this whole month off and just didn't really like it. I also have a feeling that you guys missed it as well. It's difficult. What gets interesting is, as a podcaster, you don't really know how people react to certain things. The best reactions that I get are from like clips I put out on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. And I read those comments. Like, that's the only reaction I get. I really don't know how you guys resonate with these things. And really, the only other feedback I get are download numbers. So if people aren't downloading as much, then I'm like, oh shit, I'm doing something wrong. So that's really the only feedback I get with this process. And so it really, I believe, forced me to pay attention to my own energy levels when doing these things or making decisions. And it's interesting too, because if I look back last month, uh, a portion of the reason that I decided to do the top 5 most underrated videos was because I wanted to give myself some time off. I wanted to give myself some time off to make a backlog of interviews. I also wanted to focus on actually creating a digital course. I wanted to take a step back. I also just started kind of releasing clips because I was like, oh, maybe people want short form. But what I realized is that was actually taking away from what I was doing, what I wanted to do, which is just be the best podcaster of all time. I want to be a great creator. Honestly, I really want to be a great creator. And podcasting is, I guess, just that medium at this time. And I believe that that will evolve over time. But at this present moment, talking to people, understanding the way people view reality is really just what I am being called to do. And so, what has happened over the last month, let's say, I think it was like August. It might be almost a month since I did a catch up with Clayton. Probably a little bit over now I'm thinking about it. Excuse me. But the point is that I started reading some books. One of them was Launch by Jeff Walker, and the other one was $100 million Deals by Alex Hormozy. Excuse me. Burps, getting all that energy out. Um, so what I had started doing was I was like, I'm kind of getting close on money, and I think a little bit of a fear and scarcity mentality that I am getting away from. I am getting away from it, and I think that me coming back to it is evident that I'm getting away from it. But what started to creep in was this like fear mentality of money, not having it, blah, 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 fill in the blanks. And so I was like, all right, I got to figure out how to make money. So I dove into these books, started reading them, started applying the lessons, and actually created a course. And at time of this release, the course is not completely ready. I finished all the recording. I just need to go through and edit it. I also released, some different stuff. I don't really want to get into the whole nitty gritty of it. The point is that I was driven to do that. I was energized at the time. And it's interesting because right now I am not energized to edit, and I got to get it done in a couple days, which it will get done. I just am not energized at this time to do it. And it's it's interesting from this perspective because I know that was driven to get into this to connect with people, to help other people, to help you guys. I truly believe that I am doing that, but it was interesting because looking at it now, I'm like, why would I ever start this? Why would I ever do it? And looking back on it, it's like when I decided to start this, when I decided to do it, my energy was in it. I was energized to do it. And so it's very fascinating to me that I would create this thing and yet not, what's the word I'm looking for here? I would create this thing and now almost being done with it, not be energized to do it. And I have no idea if it's like some sort of frequency misalignment. Maybe my energy wasn't in it because I was trying to do it to get money as opposed to helping, and which is ironic because the amount of information I put in there will help you if you're ever interested in starting a podcast. Uh, but with all that being said, I also felt like yeah, I wanted to get back to the podcasting, and I have been recording podcasts, so no worries on that front. But I really wanted to focus more in on creating content for the podcast itself. And my Instagram is starting to go viral now, which is so cool. But why am I bringing all this up? I feel like I'm rambling. Another thing that I want to ramble about is the clips, because I did create a bunch of like 5 to 10 minute clips that I was posting. And I didn't like the way that the podcast feed started to look. To me, it honestly started looking overwhelming, and ugh, it just was like icky to me. I was like, if someone wants to go back and see a clip, they kind of have to search engine, and it's going to be a lot of effort. And so what I've actually decided to do is actually stand up a different podcast for it, just called Traveling to Consciousness Clips, where you'll get daily clips of, you know, of, you'll get daily clips of, you'll get daily small podcast episodes of the, why is this so hard for me to articulate? I know you guys know what I'm saying, but let me think of how to articulate this. On Traveling to Consciousness Clips, there will be mini clips of episodes from Traveling to Consciousness episodes. It still feels weird. That felt weird to say. So if that felt awkward, yeah, that came across awkward in my mental as well. So moving forward, I am renewing my commitment to double down on right now being the best hot podcast host. That's funny because that's the alarm to record these, which I've missed. But uh, sorry for the distraction. But I am renewing my commitment to double down on being the best podcast host that I possibly can be in this lifetime. I want to create more content for IG. My focus is growing my Instagram account. I'd love to grow my YouTube account as well. So I am reposting videos over there. So if you're watching these on one of those platforms, yeah, and so I'm basically going back to the catch up with Clayton and the episode framework. I don't know. Maybe it was something that I just wanted to try something new. But again, right? Like look at this in the big picture, right? Is I think creating those mini clips, it taught me that I wanted to have the mini clips, but I just need to put it on the episode on its own stream, its own RSS feed. And then if I look at what am I talking about now? Oh, if I look at the course that I've created, I think that it was something that was just supposed to be created at this time. And I believe it's something that's going to turn over in the future. So, first of all, if it is the future and you're coming back and listening to this months or years in advance, and you're like, Clayton taught me how to start a podcast. Well, this is me not knowing that I was going to do that. So, you're welcome. However, if you are on in the current year of 2022 in September listening to this, then I currently have no idea how this is going to manifest, but I just have a feeling that, I was supposed to create this digital course. It was teaching me something. I learned a lot along the way. So that's incredible in its own rights, but I am fascinated to see how this develops over time. So with that being said, I don't really have anything else to add. If you want to give me feedback, please reach out to me on Instagram or TikTok. No, don't. You can't reach out on TikTok. I'm not crazy about TikTok either. It's kind of toxic. Reach out to me on Instagram, either at Traveling to Consciousness or at Clayton Cuteri, and let me know what you think about the catch up with Clayton. What you think about the clips? Like, be brutally honest, guys, because I get no feedback right away. It's not like I'm playing sports and I know if I did good or bad. It's like I don't know until after the fact. So a part of me renewing that commitment is actually going back and listening to old Traveling to Consciousness episodes and being like, okay, cool, like da da da. I don't like when I did this. I like when I did that. So with that being said, like any feedback you have for me, positive or negative, hit me up in the DMs. I try to get to those as much as I can. But yeah, if you don't feel like sending me a message in the DMs, we can always rendezvous in the sixth dimension.